Hi, my name is Kristen Sullivan. Today I will be talking about a learning management system integration within HRIS. Paradiso will be the learning management system that I'll be doing a deep dive into today. Just a little bit of background about myself. I am currently an HR associate at KIPP DC, and my background is really in like HR projects. So I've worked on a couple of DEI initiatives, system implementations to include like um, adding an onboarding module to Dayforce, and then on the opposite end of that now at KIPP, I have been working on like building out our Zendesk like ticketing system and reforming our record keeping process. Okay, this is the agenda for today. So I will be introducing who my client is, identifying the current state of their HRIS process and what I believe will help improve their process. I will then identify the solution that I am proposing will help mitigate some of the issues that they're experiencing with their current HRS process. I'll do a deep dive into the technology solution, go over like my plans for implementation, talk about like the costs and benefits of the solution that I'm proposing, and then I'll open up the floor to questioning. Okay, so who is my client? So Upstate University is the client that I have been working with for this project. Specifically, I interviewed Diane Hamilton, who is a project and analytics lead for the VP of Student Life. So Upstate University is a research university located in New York. They are dedicated to identifying creative solutions to complex issues in their community. So many a times, some of their research will involve like implementation in the community to like help cultivate more resources for everyone living in the area. So Upstate University prides themselves on training and development for staff. And in a recent survey, staff members rated training and development highly. When asked how meaningful training and development was, staff members indicated Upstate's commitment to training and development made them feel cared for and invested in. So my client's needs. Upstate University uses a learning management system right now to administer trainings to their staff. Those trainings would include things like food and safety. What else? Things like sexual harassment in the workplace, and any other like professional and policy training videos that they have to complete. In addition to that, their learning management system also assists them with their talent management. So this would include like helping them with things like mentoring, and their learning management system now creates individualized learning paths based on their preferences, based on employees' preferences. And their learning management system right now allows them to gain insight into employees' training interests. However, their learning management systems, which would include Saba and Escalera, they don't talk to Workday. So Workday talks to their learning management system, basically like notifying them of a new hire. But the system is a little faulty. The system configuration is a little faulty. So Diane mentioned that Workday does not report accurately when like a employee may change to a different position or go to a different department. And that's becoming a problem because there are department-specific trainings and position level trainings that are required based on like an employee's movement in the company or at the university. So it is becoming a problem. There's only a one-way feed or one-way communication from Workday to the learning management system. So on the opposite end of that, the learning management system is not communicating like when an employee is completing their certifications, and Workday is not like housing that information right now for managers to easily go in and access that information, and for the HRS team to be able to like report um, different like I guess like completion statuses to whoever like is requesting that information. So as you can imagine, it makes the system that they're currently following a little bit tedious. All right, so I am proposing that Upstate University, specifically like the Student Life Department, adopt a learning management system that has integration capabilities with Workday. And what this will really look like is the learning management system is going to talk to the HRS, telling you what the user, who the user is, what courses they've completed, and any like courses or learning paths that the employee has like expressed interest in, and the learning management has like um, identified through AI. On the opposite end of that, or on the other end of that, the HRIS system, Workday, will talk to the learning management system, telling an employee about like I'm sorry, telling the the system about like who the employee is, so department title and location, and any like compliance records that need to be reported to the learning management system will be reported there. Um, so just a recap, my solution to this problem right now is that they adopt a learning management system that can create a two-way feed between Workday and the learning management system. I'm proposing that Upstate University adopt Paradiso, and I'll get into what Paradiso is in the next slide. But just like a little bit more information on this. Saba, which is one of their learning management systems, it does have the capability to integrate with Workday, but I didn't see it as a true fix to the problem because they use multiple learning management systems, which would include Saba and Escalera. And while Saba would report to Workday, it would still not be a true fix to the solution because Escalera wasn't reporting to Workday. So just this is what led me to why I'm proposing they adopt a whole new learning management system and phase out their old one. Okay, so Paradiso is the learning management system that I am proposing that Upstate University adopt. And there are a number of reasons why, but the main reason is because it offers all of the design elements to meet their learning management needs. It has a two-way feed between Workday and the Paradiso learning management system. There's organizational hierarchy synchronization, meaning some of the information like where an employee works, who their manager is, what their position title is, how long they've been working, and if they transfer between like locations, all of that information will be communicated to the learning management system from Workday. There's also single sign-on capabilities, so the user who is logging into Paradiso will not have to access like the two systems like in a siloed way. You can access the learning management system directly through Workday. And then there's detailed reporting, so reporting issues that the HRIS team was currently experiencing, they would no longer be experiencing that because their data would be all in one place and more accurate. So things like when an employee completed their training, who the user is, and what type of like course they completed would all be communicated to Workday. Um, in addition to like if the employee has like a personalized learning path, an individualized learning path, that information would also be reported to Workday, which would on the back end help with like a manager if they're like going through the performance review phase, or if they're just trying to like, better develop their talent. It would help with like mentoring, as well as like offering like some training suggestions based on the employee's interests. And then just to like tie all of that together, um, Paradiso does allow for like customization. So, you can curate your own content there. You can also curate campaigns that are user, department, and cohort specific. So if there are things like DEI initiatives or trainings that are specific to the university, Paradiso would allow for those trainings to be uploaded into the system, so that those trainings are like universal to all employees and don't change. All right, so the implementation plan. So phase one would be the planning phase. And during this time, a team of experts would be called together to complete this implementation. Data would need to be aggregated from the current learning management systems, which would include Saba and Escalera. Mainly we would need like the user's name, the courses and learning paths that are already loaded into their profiles in Saba and Escalera, and any course completions that are detailed in the current learning management systems. All of this information would go on an EIB document or would be completed like through an EIB file feed, which is basically you putting information on a spreadsheet and uploading that document into Workday, for Workday to like receive that information or upload it into the new learning management system for the new learning management to receive that information. Again, we'll be also aggregating data from Workday, which would include that organizational hierarchy. So there's organizational synchronization into the learning management system, which would just include things like, employee data. So their employee ID number, who their manager is, what their work location is, if there was any movement with the employees. So if they're a new hire, transfer, moving to a different department, got a promotion, all of that information would be pulled from Workday and put into the new learning management system with a EIB feed, or basically like information on a spreadsheet that is uploaded into Workday. Uploaded into the learning management system. As part of the planning phase, we do want to establish naming conventions for the trainings. And I want to ensure that there's a testing environment to make sure that the design capabilities of the learning management system is operating to optimal capacity or optimal, like how we picture it to operate. So this would include like something like the form of a sandbox environment where we could test out our design ideas in that environment to ensure that Paradiso is the learning management system that we absolutely want to move forward with, and it's operating the way we want it to operate. And it fits with our data. It works with our data. It works with our current configurations. All right, so the next phase would be the launch phase. And this would include software testing, So during this portion, you would want to make sure that any data that is migrated the way we wanted it to. Sometimes there are instances where data is not migrated as is. That leads me to the next bullet, which would be focusing on the data migration. So you want to plan for risk buffers because the test environment may not operate exactly the same as production. So the test environment is like, the background where you just play around with the design features and design elements and make sure that it's operating the way you want the system to. And production would be like the go live system where it's employee facing and everyone has now like more hands-on experience with it. So you will want to again plan for those risk buffers, and if you need to configure the data to operate differently in production, you just want to make sure that you're planning for that. System conversion will be the next area, and this is just making sure that the changes are made before we go live. Documentation would include creating context-specific reference guides, user manuals, tutorials, a reference guide for the program coding and design specifications, just so that the HRIS team later on or IT can reference those guides if anything needs to be changed later on down the line. And then, or there ever like any changes in the team. Yeah. And then user acceptance is really like gaining engagement from those who have shown interest in the new learning management system. We can make them informal ambassadors for the change. And you also want to make sure that you're identifying and involving the most resistant users right from the beginning to get their buy-in. All right, and then phase 3 would be the evaluation phase. So during this phase, um, I would want to like do a pulse survey just to get early reactions from employees who opt to participate in the survey. That way we can get software modification recommendations and early reactions from participants, and to um, encourage participation, we will offer rewards for participation. Um, this this implementation would be done in a pilot way. So we would start off with just the student life department. But Diane did mention that if we were to adopt a new learning management system that had a two-way feed, then the university would want to do the full, like all of the departments undergo this change and adopt the new system. So we would start off with student life and, see how that goes. And then from the pilot, we would then, once successful, we would then start administering it to the rest of the university. All right, so benefits of the learning management system. So again, as I mentioned earlier, there are many benefits to the learning management system. It has all of the design capabilities that upstate needs at the moment. So they'd be able to track and follow all learning processes without having to switch between the e-learning software and the HR platform. It saves time and money. There will be an excellent flow of data because now, there's that two-way feed. So Workday is talking to Paradiso and Paradiso is talking to Workday about system like employee movement, employee completion of trainings. Data synchronizing will be much better because all of this information now is being communicated to one another. So there's less error in the reporting. It enhances organizational performance because now they can really hone in and focus on employee training and what an employee is interested in and growing their company and aligning their strategic goals to employees' goals for training and development. And then, it does you are able, as I mentioned earlier, to really customize this platform. So there wouldn't be much change in the types of training being offered, more so just like configuration settings in the background. So we would be incurring the cost of the new learning management system. I think that's going to be the biggest lift here. And I'm planning for $60,000 here. Of course, we'd also be, paying for staff training. And it's going to be based on head count. At the trainings, how long we will want the trainings. Um, I will say that one way that I have thought about um, decreasing costs in staff training is identifying power users. So power users are people or users of the learning management system who spend majority of their time there. They are very experienced, skilled users. They use the system in ways that others are not using the system in everyday work. And basically, those power users would work with other staff members to help with trainings, answer any questions, and things of that nature. Um, it is possible that we already pay for the workday learning module, so I'm not really sure if we will be incurring the cost of the workday learning module just to house the information that the learning management system would be communicating to Workday. That's something I need clarity on, but it's possible we already paid for it. Um, all right, so I just want to close out by saying thank you for listening. Again, so this pretty much wraps up my presentation. If you have any questions, the floor is now open to questions. And thank you for listening in. And here is just a reference to the Paradiso website with more information about the learning management system.